DIY number 1, a fabric rag basket. The supplies needed include fabric in blues, a rubber band, a balloon, a vase, I use a glass one, stiffy, or you can use Mod Podge, and scissors. When I decided I would join this collaboration, I had to run to Dollar Tree and gather some fabrics. I purchased 6 different patterns to make unique items. This is my first fabric bowl and inspired by something I saw on Pinterest. I cut the beginning of the fabric and then I tore the various strips of fabric, blue stripe, checkered, square, and butterfly patterns. Then I blew up a balloon and set it on top of a glass vase. Now you must decide how big or small you want your bowl, so blow up the balloon accordingly. Now stiffy was used to saturate the fabric. Then the strips are laid on top of the balloon right side down. This is so the inside of the basket will look as good as the outside. This is done with 3 layers of fabric strips, and I covered the entire balloon. Now next time I will make the strips smaller for a smaller basket, but if you want a large basket, then you want your strips longer. So after covering the entire balloon, I let it dry. The next morning it was semi-dry, and I cut the balloon and began trimming the excess fabric. I attempted to use clamps to hold it together, but the fabric was not stiff enough, and so it kind of fell on the outside or fell inside. So therefore, I put the glass vase inside the basket and used a rubber band to hold it together until dry. Also, I used some Mod Podge, and I think if I had to do it over again, I would probably use Mod Podge instead of stiffy. But because I used a little bit of both, I don't know which one did the best. It looks beautiful, and remember, these bowls are not food safe. They are strictly for decorative display or holding items like jewelry, paper clips, shells, or other small things. You can make this small bowl for your guest room or a guest bathroom, and you can also use it to store dryer balls, flowers, or your glasses, whatever. Now, let me know what you think. I think it looks pretty good, and I think I did a pretty good job. So DIY number 2 is a fabric doorstop. You know, I like to make things that have a purpose most of the time. The supplies needed include a 16 by 10 inch burlap fabric that I got from Dollar Tree, thread, and of course a sewing machine. And I had some strips of leather, so I only needed 5 inches, so I just cut that much because you're going to fold it over and you're only going to have like maybe 2.5 inches. I used about 4 cups of dried beans, but you can also use rice, or you could actually probably use rocks or something else that's going to give it some weight. And then you can sew it together, or you can use hot glue. So, you can use a little bit of both. I was inspired by Gray Arrow Farm to create my take on a fabric doorstop. Now, this is very easy and it's usable. Now, I used burlap fabric from Dollar Tree. It was black and white and burlap. I sewed the 10-inch side, and then that seemed to do it, so I really didn't need to use hot glue for extra security. And then I sewed across the bottom, and finally the ends are pinched and stitched. So make sure you press as you go so your product looks professional. I poured the 4 cups of beans inside. and then I folded the top inward about maybe a ½ inch or maybe a little bit more. And this is kind of tough because the bag is full, because you're going to need to sew the top. I folded the 5 inches of leather in half, and then I made sure that it was even on both sides. I think I had to trim a little bit of it off. And I placed the leather in the middle of the bag and sewed it all together. And this works so nicely to keep the door open in any room. Now, Fabricate Your Ideas is an open collaboration that is hosted by DIY with Aria, One Way Designs 238, at Rustic and Lace DIY, and at Indiana Jones. These are some fantastic DIYers that are willing to help others to achieve their dreams. Be sure to like, save, and comment on their channels. The link to their channels is listed in the description box below. Now, there are other crafters making creative items, so be sure to like, save, comment on their channels also, and the link to the playlist is in the description box below. So on to DIY number 3. This is a burlap flower pouch. The supplies needed are, of course, if you're going to sew it, you need a sewing machine, thread, an iron to make sure it's smooth, a wire hanger, fabric liner, but you don't have to use a fabric liner because I put some stuffing in there, so you can use stuffing versus a liner. And the burlap was 21.5 inches by 8.5 inches. Now, I love flowers, especially real ones. However, in this project, full ones will do. This floral pouch is made from Dollar Tree burlap, and it has pink butterflies all over it. I cut the fabric 21.5 inches by 8.5 inches, and I sewed both sides together so you have like a little sack. I folded the top over about 1 5/8 inch, and I just sewed it around the top to make it so that it doesn't ravel. Metal eyelets were used to make an opening on each side of the sack to thread the wire through so that you could hang on your door. I would say for me it was probably 10 inches altogether. I anchored the opening to insert the wire and reinforce with hot glue. So after that, I put my florals inside and displayed it on the outside of my door. And I think it looks really cute. It's very simple but impactful, and you can also hang a ribbon on it. It would look beautiful. So let me know what you think about this one. DIY number 4, and this is my last one, fabric brooch. The supplies needed include fabric of your choice, some gems, hot glue, and a pin back. Now this is kind of a shabby chic type brooch. You can take any fabric you wish and then decide how large you want the brooch you're making. Well, what I did is I took an old flower that I had and I used that as my pattern, and I cut out 8 floral petals, and then I began to hot glue them one on top of each other, staggering them. At the end, I added beads, and it's very simple. All of these petals went on a felt backing, and I just hot glued until I was satisfied with my creation. And then I added a pin back, and you just wear it in style. I think it's so cute, but you know, you could add lace on it, you can add burlap. The sky's the limit. If you decide to make one, I'd like to see what you would make. Well, that is all, Z9 Design family. Make sure you subscribe, like, save, and comment. I want to sincerely thank you for your comments and your support. You've all been so kind and loving. I really appreciate it. Also, follow me on TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. And give me that thumbs up because it helps my channel grow. And remember, love looks through a telescope, but envy looks through a microscope. This is by Josh Billings. Well, I'll see you later, Z9 Design family. Bye-bye.